Oh, this is some old guy in Hawaii with a late January 2021 update to the channel. Now, with the exception of several recent entries into Triple G's One Skill Tree Community Challenge, channel output has been lacking for several weeks now. Going to explain why that is, the evolving philosophy of the channel, and where I hope to take it in the future. Now, I started doing Borderlands videos a little over a year ago with a pretty good idea of the type of material I want to create and some unwritten but very specific rules covering the content. Now, I have focused on creating informative content that, as much as possible, simplifies potentially complex material. I enjoy taking stuff that looks complex, breaking it down to simpler pieces, and explaining those pieces in easy to understand ways. It's something I've done at work and elsewhere for much of my life. I think I'm pretty good at it. And based on the overwhelming majority of comments, most of you out there agree. I also strive to put out material that lasts, that will be useful and informative and accurate, not just today, but a year or more down the road. Not always possible. Like many games these days, Borderlands is constantly changing. That doesn't change my approach, though. It just means I sometimes need to do updates. Okay, that's also why I don't cover every single new weapon or buff or mechanic that comes out. I also like to cover baseline topics that others don't, like how damage over time works, the underlying math of action skill cooldown, and how drop rates actually work. Okay, I don't want to reinvent the wheel and repeat what others have already said and said well. Okay, I often link to other creators' works in my posts for just that reason. Taking complex material and breaking it down, however, takes time. I can't just grab a new weapon, mess with it for an hour, and then drop a video explaining the good and the bad. If you've watched some of my videos, you know how in the weeds I can get. I've been working towards scaling back some of that as I gain experience. I try to give the viewer only what they really need to know, but that doesn't change the amount of work that goes into each video behind the scenes. I also try to cover topics that really interest and excite me. If I don't have a passion for it, that will likely come through, even giving my typical low-key delivery, and it will take the fun out of doing the work. Okay, I also work a full-time job, even with COVID. All of this informs why I typically put out new videos roughly every 2 weeks. Okay, the last month has also been a bit dry, however, because Borderlands itself has been in a bit of a lull. After the release of the new skill trees and arms race, there hasn't been a whole lot of new material. Okay, and while Gearbox has released some hot fixes and mini events since then, a lot of long-standing issues involving game balance and bugs have persisted, and the end result is that a lot of content creators, YouTube and streaming, have varied their content, expanded to working on other games. They've been spending less time on Borderlands, and that's applied to me as well. Recent updates to the game, as well as upcoming changes in my own life, however, mean that I hope to put out more content going forward. Okay, first on the list is a comparison of two Model 1 SMGs, the Plasma Coral and the recently buffed DNA. Okay, spoiler alert, the plasma is still OP, but the DNA is now surprisingly effective, and I'll explain why. Okay. Next is probably updates and additions to several Sleeping Giant ammo regen builds. Okay, back during the last Bloody Harvest event, I came up with an Amara build utilizing Terra ammo regen and the then recently buffed Sleeping Giant SMG. It was only the second build I considered to be truly my own, the first being Legolas Bear Modes, and it was a ton of fun. It was ridiculously satisfying, single target damage, a little quirky, but the trade-offs were well worth the rewards. God, that build was fun. Okay, so much so that I applied the same mechanics to a flak build, and I was working on Modes and Zane. And then Gearbox nerfed Fake Grass, and more importantly, inadvertently broke ASC Terra, which was critical to 3 of the 4 builds. Sleeping Giant Amar in particular pretty much fell apart. Cue sad music, I was not happy. Then Triple G started the One Skill Tree Community Challenge. I actually took a stab at speedrunning, which I never do, never thought I would. And I had fun. I learned a great deal. I actually have an unfinished video suggesting we need to do more challenges that do not use time, speed, as the primary or only measure of success. I may still put that out eventually, but it's a bit more tempered given my recent experiences with speedruns, so I learned to enjoy speedrunning. Okay. Then the DNA buff happened, among others, and I naturally compared to the Plasma Core, which featured in my Zane One Ski Trail entry. So that video is in the works. And then January 21st, big hot fixes announcements to include fixing ASC Terra, and just like that, Sleeping Giant Mark was back. And I found that I could speedrun the Molly 1 takedown pretty darn fast. It's not the same without Fake Grass. It requires more care and skill during play, but that's a good thing. And the earlier build did not have access to a 4th skill tree, nor did the other 3 Vault Hunter builds I was working at the time. So I hope to revisit all of those. Okay, thank you, Gearbox. Then there are long-standing topics I'm still working. Okay, I have a video on Iron Bear fuel usage I thought I had nailed down until I started messing with the Bear Trooper and Raging Bear comms. Those do weird things to the math. I really want to do a video on accuracy, to be able to tell you what an 80% accuracy stat really means, and I've actually made some important recent discoveries on that front, but there are still some mysteries I need to tease out, and I suspect those will just take a lot of testing. Okay, I also want to branch out beyond Borderlands. Viewers on my Twitch channel already know I play other games like Deep Rock Galactic, Civilization, etc. If I think I have something to contribute, I may start doing videos on other games. I also build models, plastic model kits, kit bashes, scratch builds, and even big Lego kits. Now, some of that I've already streamed. I'm working on a huge Lego style kit for my mom that I'm filming in time lapse. That will probably be the first non-game video I post in the near future. I play Airsoft a lot, or did until Borderlands 3 release and then COVID. I actually haven't played in almost a year and a half, but I have a ton of gear, including a 3-camera setup, and I'm trying to get ready to play again in the near future. My hope is to get back into it by summer. Hopefully after I get vaccinated, but while I am relatively old, I am not quite old enough to be anywhere but on the bottom tier. Although there are vaccination plans in the works with my employer, the federal government. I'll let you know when I start playing again. Okay. Lastly, I have a degree in film. I've worked in film and TV way in the past. I've done some shorts. I'd like to do more. I need to convert and post my past work, maybe some new stuff in the future. I may even start doing reviews and commentary on stuff. So how do I do all that when, as mentioned, I still work a full-time job? Well, I just had a nice long discussion with my financial advisor. After crunching the numbers, it looks like I can retire pretty much anytime I want. Okay, and if things go the way I think they will, I will be retired by July 1st of this year. I won't know the specifics until mid-February, and it won't be a done deal until early May. But it's looking very much like June 30th will be my last day as gainfully employed. Actually, probably before that, given leave saved up. It's a little weird, it's a little scary, but it's also super exciting. I've not been this jazzed about life and its possibilities in a long time, and coming off of 2020, that's even better. It will mean a lot more time for me to do many things, including spend more time playing games, making content, and streaming. So that's where we're at and where we expect to go, hope to go. It's a small yet constantly growing channel. Know that I appreciate every sub and every view and every comment. Thank you all for your patience and for watching. I hope to see more of you in the future.